Hello students, and welcome to the third part of our first chapter of NCERT History, Rise of Nationalism in Europe. In this part of the chapter, we'll be learning about a new conservatism after 1815 and the ideas of revolutionaries all across Europe during mid-18th century. So let's start. We saw that Napoleon was defeated in 1815 in the Battle of Waterloo. So after Napoleon's defeat, in 1815, European governments were driven by a spirit of conservatism. It means after Napoleon, conservatives came to power in European government. So who were these conservatives and what were their ideas? Conservatives believed that established and traditional institutions of state and society should be preserved. It means they simply wanted to preserve all the traditional institutions and the established institution of their state. They didn't wanted any sudden change to take place in Europe. But most of them did not propose a return to society of pre-revolutionary days because they realized that some changes that were initiated by Napoleon, because all of Napoleon's ideas were not bad, some of them were really for the welfare of people. So they used to think that if they would adopt some changes initiated by Napoleon, they could strengthen the traditional institutions like monarchy. So they finally tried to adopt some ideas of Napoleon to strengthen their traditional institutions. So this was the idea of conservatives. Like they could have a modern army, an efficient bureaucracy, a dynamic economy, abolition of feudalism and serfdom. So all these steps could strengthen the autocratic monarchies of Europe. So this was the ideas of conservatives. So what happened after 1815 was representative of the European powers. Actually, four countries together defeated Napoleon. Napoleon was defeated by these four powers of Europe: Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Together, they defeated Napoleon, as Napoleon was very strong during his time. So, all these countries came together to defeat Napoleon. So, they met at Vienna. Vienna is the capital of Austria. So, they met at Vienna to draw up a settlement for Europe. Now, as Napoleon was defeated, someone had to take control over Europe. So the conservatives, so the representatives that were going to meet at Vienna actually had ideas of conservatives. So in 1815, they met at Vienna to draw up a settlement for Europe. And this congress was hosted by Austrian Chancellor Duke Metternich. This is a very important name for this chapter, Duke Metternich. So the meeting of Vienna, which was going to be organized at Vienna in 1815, it was hosted by Duke Metternich, as it was organized in Austria. And who was Duke Metternich? He was the Austrian Chancellor. Right. So together they drew up the Treaty of Vienna of 1815. And what was the main objective of this treaty? Treaty of Vienna really stood for undoing changes of Napoleonic War. It means their main aim was whatever changes were brought by Napoleon across Europe during his rule, they simply wanted to undo all the changes, or they wanted to restore all the monarchies that were overthrown by Napoleon. So we read about when we talked about Napoleon, we read that he overthrew the Bourbon dynasty. So in Treaty of Vienna, Bourbon dynasty was restored to power and a series of states were set up on French boundaries to prevent its expansion in future. So as Napoleon actually belonged to France, he was at the beginning he was the ruler of France. So all the other parts of Europe used to think that actually France was the nation who was actually gaining territories all across Europe, and so During Treaty of Vienna, four of the states that were the great powers, Austria, Prussia, Britain and Russia, they set up series of straits on French boundaries to prevent its expansion in future. It means it would not be able to expand its territory later. The next change was Prussia was given important new territories on its western frontiers. Genoa was added to the Piedmont in the south. Genoa is the name of a place in Italy. Kingdom of the Netherlands, including Belgium, was set up in the north, and Austria was given the control of northern Italy, and German Confederation of 39 states was left untouched, because German Confederation actually comprised of 39 various states that were spread in this German Confederation. And finally, their main aim was to restore the monarchies that were overthrown by Napoleon. So this was the map after the Treaty of Vienna, where the German Confederation, which comprised of 39 states that we talked about, were left untouched. It means they were not disturbed. And this was the region of France, and this was the Austrian Empire. Okay, so let's move forward. So the conservative regime that was set up in 1815, it means the people who were going to actually rule Europe now onwards or control the European government were actually autocratic, and they sought to curb activities that questioned the legitimacy of autocratic government. So if anyone stands against them, they used to take strict action against them, and they imposed censorship laws to control the media. So even the media could not say anything against them. So here is a painting from a European artist, and it is labeled as the most important question of today's meeting. Some people are sitting here for a meeting, and this board labeled at the top, this board reads that this is the most important question of their meeting, that how long will thinking be allowed to us. It means they are already stopped to talk about, they can't express their ideas of liberty or freedom across other people. So their question is that how long will thinking be allowed. So it was very crucial question, that how long will thinking be allowed to them. Okay. Now let's read something about the revolutionaries. So up till now we have read about the conservative idea, what were the ideas of conservatives, and what was the regime set up by conservatives in the European government after 1815. It means after the defeat of Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo of 1815, who took over the European government, and who was and how did they start ruling. Now we have another set of people that are known as the revolutionaries. Revolutionaries, you all might be knowing. Revolutionaries are the ones who want something to be changed all across the parts of the country. They want to spread their ideas, and they want sudden changes to for the development of the country, or they simply want revolution. So let's read about revolutionaries. After 1815, fear of repression drove across Many liberal national okay repression drove many liberal nationalists underground. It means the conservative regime that was set up in 1815, as they were autocratic, so many people used to think that actually they were snatching off their liberty and freedom, and they need to fight for liberty and freedom and stand against this conservative regime. So these people were liberal nationalists, so they went underground. And finally, secret societies sprang up to train revolutionaries and spread their ideas. So finally, revolutionaries started forming clubs, or they formed secret society, and they used to train people to spread their ideas. So we have a name of very important, very very important revolutionary of Italy, whose name is Giuseppe Mazzini. Actually, he was an Italian revolutionary. He belonged to Italy, and he was born in Genoa in 1807. and he became a member of secret society of the Carbonari at a very young age. As a young man of he became a member of secret society of the Carbonari, and even he was quite young at the age of 24. He was even sent to exile while he was attempting some revolution in Liguria. So he was sent to exile at the age of 24. Then later he founded two more underground societies, that are Young Italy in Marseilles. These are both of them are the name of places, and these are the name of the secret societies: Young Italy in Marseilles and Young Europe in Bern. So this was Giuseppe Mazzini, and all across Europe during the revolution. And if you remember Duke Metternich, about whom we talked, he was the Austrian chancellor who was actually hosting the Treaty of Vienna. Duke Metternich, who was the Austrian chancellor, he also defined Metternich as, it means he described Giuseppe Mazzini as the most dangerous enemy of our social order. It means actually Giuseppe Mazzini was trying to stand against the ideals of Duke Metternich and the conservatives. So Metternich described him as the most dangerous enemy of our social order. So you can have an idea what was the effect of the ideas of Giuseppe Mazzini, as he was directly challenging the setup of the Duke Metternich and the conservatives. So this was our subtopic of ideas of conservatives and the ideas of revolutionaries. In the next part of the chapter, we'll be reading about the age of revolutions of from 1830 to 1848. Thank you.